During my performance review, my manager said, "Your productivity dropped significantly after the incident." I asked what incident. She went pale. I've worked at the same mid-sized logistics consulting firm for 6 years. Never missed a deadline. Never called in sick on a Monday. Never once had a performance review where the word dropped appeared in the same sentence as my name. So when Diana slid that printout across the conference table and pointed to a circled paragraph, I read it twice. "Your output metrics show a notable decline in the 8 weeks following the incident. We want to support your recovery, but we need to discuss a path forward." I looked up at her. "What incident?" She smiled the way people smile when they think you're being coy. "We don't have to use that word if it makes you uncomfortable." "Diana, I'm asking because I genuinely don't know what you're referring to." Her smile didn't move, but something behind her eyes did. "The incident in March." March. I ran through March in my head. My sister's birthday, a product launch that went fine, a dentist appointment where they found a small cavity. Nothing happened to me in March. She set her pen down. "You filed an HR report." I stared at her. I've never filed an HR report in my life. The color left her face so fast I thought she might pass out. She flipped the folder closed. "I think there may have been a mix-up. Let me grab Renee from HR." She left me sitting alone in that glass conference room for 11 minutes. I know because I watched the clock on the wall and felt something cold settling in my stomach. Renee came in first, then Diana behind her, and neither of them would look at me directly when they sat down. Renee opened a different folder. "So, we have a report here, filed in March, under your employee ID. Show me." She slid it over. My name was on the top, my ID number, my department, the date, March 14th. I read every line. It was a harassment complaint, detailed, dated, against a man named Greg Pullman who worked in our Chicago office and whom I had never met once in my life. "I didn't write this," I said. Renee's voice was careful and flat. "It was submitted through the internal portal using your login credentials. Then someone used my credentials. I didn't write this. I have never spoken to Greg Pullman. I didn't even know his name until 10 seconds ago." Diana and Renee exchanged a look I wasn't supposed to catch. "We placed Greg on administrative leave in March," Renee said slowly. "Based on this report." Everything clicked into place at once, and I felt sick. "Who else knew about this report?" I asked. "It was kept confidential. Standard protocol. Only HR, Diana as your direct manager, and senior leadership." "What happened to Greg?" A pause. "He resigned in April rather than face a formal investigation." I sat back. 6 years of showing up, staying late, covering for people when they needed it, and someone had put my name on a document that ended a man's career. And then my company had watched my productivity drop for 2 months and assumed I was just struggling to cope with my own fake trauma. "I need to know who submitted this," I said. "We can't disclose. Someone committed fraud using my identity to get a colleague fired. I need to know who submitted this report." Renee closed the folder. "We'll need to involve legal." "Great. Involve them." It took 3 weeks. It pulled the login records and found the submission came from a company laptop, not mine. It came from the machine belonging to a woman named Stacy Birch, who sat 2 rows behind me and had been passed over for the same senior associate promotion that had gone to Greg Pullman 8 months earlier. Stacy picked my name because I was quiet and kept to myself. She used a shared login terminal in the copy room that didn't have a camera, waited until I was at lunch, and filed the whole thing in under 4 minutes. Greg Pullman had already moved to another state by then. His wife had taken their kids to her mother's place during the investigation, and by the time he was cleared, she decided to stay there. I gave a full statement. Stacy was terminated and is currently facing criminal charges for fraud and defamation. The company sent me a formal written apology. Diana cried in my office for 10 minutes and kept saying she felt terrible, and I let her because she should. As for my performance review, they voided the whole thing and started a new one from scratch. Turns out my productivity didn't drop at all. Someone had been logging onto the system under my name and deleting completed tasks from the tracker. Just enough, spread over 2 months, to make the numbers look soft. Stacy had been thorough. HR offered me a settlement. I took it. I also took the promotion that opened up when Stacy's position needed to be filled. The person who figured out the task deletion, the IT analyst who stayed late 2 nights in a row to run the audit, was Greg Pullman's former assistant, who'd never believed the original complaint for a single day. I sent her coffee next morning. She sent back a note that just said, "I knew." During my performance review, my manager said, "Your productivity dropped